All right, y'all, so guess what? I got all my posts put up. You can't see them because that's how straight they are. Look at this. Watch. You see that? I did a pretty good job, didn't I? I think I did. But here's the deal. I'm on my own today. My dad is challenging me to see if I can put this fence up, this whole 100-something foot stretch of fence up by myself. Now, I know you're seeing how this post is out of line with all the other posts, and that's for a really good reason in particular. Let me explain it to you. Now, what I've got going on here is a very complex system of gates. I'm going to have a gate here and a gate there. Reason being is because, well, let's see, this is a 7-foot gate, and that's a 7-foot gate. So I'm saving about 14 foot of gate. A fence, I mean. That was completely on accident. But seriously, I'm saving about 14 foot of fence. That's a lot of fence for me because, well, fence is expensive. But I'm going to have my 100-foot roll fence coming down through here. And then it's going to switch from that post over here to this post. I'm going to tie it to this post. And I got it tied up here. And I got it tied down here at the bottom too. And whenever I pull from down there, it's going to pull this post that way, you see? Now, this is going to work because of physics. Not getting into that because I don't know the equations. But like I said, I'm going to have 2 gates because I want to be able to get into the paddock. And I'm also going to have another paddock over there. So this will be a gate for me and the pigs both. Because if I want to get in here and go mess around in this paddock, then I can do that because, well, guess what? There's a gate right there. I'm putting a gate here. I think you got it. But now I'm about to get started on putting up some fence. So alright, so let me get in frame here. Alright. Now, all these are different to a certain extent. I think y'all can see that. Let me see. Yeah, y'all can see that. Y'all can also see my shirt that Illinois Canary gave me. Alright, look. This comes up and wraps around that just 3 times. And to get that off, you get you a regular pair of snips. You come right in there. My mom and my little brother's coming out of the house. They're gonna go see the chickens. And if you can ever get a hold of it, if you can't ever get a hold of it, you just come in there, right there in that little groove, put your snips down in there, squeeze it, and that'll kind of open it up a little bit. You'll feel it open up in your hand. And you can do that to both the little things. There's 3, so there's 2 gaps. Now you can really get a good hold on that and be able to twist it around. Sometimes you don't have to open it up like I did. Sometimes you can just be real cool and smooth like I am sometimes. Now, all these down through here are the same. Let me try and get it up here better to where you can see it some more. All these are the same. They just wrap around and then under and then back around. And the deal with this is you can bend this down, come right over here. I've seen a lot of videos on this, and they don't show you what they're doing. And you can loosen it up just a little bit. Make sure you study that real good. It's going underneath this vertical wire that was to be straight. It's like you're cutting the knot and the wire in half, but you're not cutting. You're just trying to loosen it up, and then that'll just slide right off of there. Ow, poke myself. Sometimes that'll work, sometimes it don't. Yeah, see? Sometimes it'll work better than other times. But that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to get this tied. I'm going to show y'all how I tie it. And then I'm going to go down there and I'll show y'all that. Now, the top and bottom wire are the only ones that really have any pull on them. The other ones are just there. to keep things from getting in and out. Of course, they're going to be tight too out of physics, but we're not getting into that. But my ratchets are going on the top and bottom wire, so they're the only ones that really got any pull on them. So you want to make sure you get those really, really tight. And the situation with this is you tie the top one first, and you do your pulling on the top just a little bit, not all of it. But this has got to come completely round here, like that, and then back around over here like this. Not poke holes in my shirt. It's a battle. It really is. Make sure this comes all the way up to there. You don't want any funny looking spot. Boom, there, it's done. It's I'm joking. Don't believe me. Fence is heavy. You must be Hulk. Now, this isn't all of it. It might be, but I don't think it is. I don't think I'm strong enough to pull it up. Yeah, I did it. Now it's falling down. Ugh. Momentum. Kick it down to the pot. There. I got it leaned up against all the posts. That's difficult, but let me think. Back to the learning experience. These are 2x4 sized holes, so you want about a 2x4 sized gap right here. That way it doesn't look like it's all messed up and weird and stuff. And where'd my snips go? They're over there. Hold on. I'm in kind of a hurry, but not trying to hurry kind of thing. Alright. Now, from what I've watched other people do and from experience, you want 3 or 4 really, really tight wraps. Let me get you all a little bit closer so you can see what I'm talking about. Good. Alright. Now, you want to try to get these just as tight as you can. I know I used my hand there, but I'll pull the slack back out. There. So now that I got 3, I can make 2 or 3 long wraps. Now you could just do tight wraps all the way up and down, but that'd take a long time. And I'm probably not going to get 2 or 3 long wraps because of the distance that I've got to be dealing with. And I even make my long wraps tight. So. Now I'm going to point this up because later I'm going to be working down from the top down. And if this is pointed down and I'm right here, I'm going to poke myself and bleeding. And that's no fun. Nobody likes to bleed, so don't poke yourself with wire. I got my wire here and it's around a spoil, so I just use that to my advantage because I'm going around a round post. But we done learned that if you put it right at the same height as this thing, ooh no. I got my ratchet on there backwards. Hold on, I'll finish explaining here in a second. Right. That goes that way. I want this way. It's got to go in that way. All right, I got it now. I want the part that the wrench goes on facing outside. But we done learned that if you put this at the exact same height as the fence is already at, then it's gonna be making bulges and stuff, and then you gotta lift this up, and that's no good. So my dad said go about that high up above. So you also want to get this little notch right here in the ratchet snug right up against there. All right. But we're gonna take it, bring it up to about here. All right, so I'm gonna mark me a spot right there. That's my spot, don't let me forget. All right, so I said right here. So we're gonna take that and put it here. Then I'm gonna come around to the back side of the post, and I'm gonna put a nail right here. Nailing the wire to the post. It don't matter if the wire slips, because I can put it back. As long as I don't nail it in all the way. Alright, so right there. Pull that kind of tight, but not move the ratchet. Alright. That's where it goes. Alright, so I got one nail here. You want it snug up against the wire, but you don't want to crimp the wire. This is bending the wire. But I'm going to bend this wire back, because if I had just that one nail, this ratchet will pull itself out of there. I'm going to put a nail right here. Got something in my eye now, but I'm going to put a nail right there to hold that ratchet up. Now I can come in here, put another nail, just kind of layer the wire. Snug against the wire, but don't crimp the wire. You crimp the wire, over a few years it'll break. See if I got one more nail. I do. I'll have to go to the bucket. Alright, I just remembered that before we put any real tension on the fence, need to tie the bottom. See, if I would have put tension on the fence, I would not have been able to do that at all. So just like at the top, get you about a 2-inch little gap there, and then take your wire, twist him around tight 2 or 3 times, and then do a couple of long wraps. Try to get those tight too, but not as close. Don't know why. The people that I watched said that if you don't do that, then it'll pull out. So definitely don't want it to pull out, because if it pulls out, then my fence is down. Alright, so like I was saying, come in here. Let's see. That's gonna have to come down, I think, but we'll see in a minute. It is just a little bit up above this one. I think it's good. I think that's about right where my dad told me to put it, but I also got to compensate for what is happening. But let's see. I want that down. I'm going to come to like right there. Go to this side of it, and I'm going to cut down because I don't need this piece. And I think I can ratchet the rest up. So let's go right here. Cut and cut and cut. So with the ratchets, what I was seeing people doing, how my dad told me to do it. I'm sure he looked stuff up on the internet, but he just randomly introduced these to me. But what he was doing was taking these, pushing them in there through that little hole. There's a little hole in there, and then taking that wire and bending it all the way back around. But what I learned is this: just let it barely stick out the other side. If you was to do this, you'd know. And then just turn it, and it'll bend itself. And flip that back down. And you want this to spoil up like a roll of wire. You want it to be nice and neat, look all pretty, because then that's whenever it works the best. This is one of those things where the better it looks, the better it's working. Yep, see, I'm going to have to take out more of these, which is perfectly fine because I kind of expected it. You see that? I laid my snips down over there because I didn't think I was going to need them. I was so sure I was going to need them. I gotta go back out there. But now, take this guy off. Go like that. Come right back around over here and like that. Afraid I'm gonna take out a bunch of these. Where'd my wrench go? It's in my pocket. It's in my pocket. Alright. Boom. Boom. Alright. Looky there. May not have to take out as many of these as I think. Which is a good thing. That makes me really happy. Alright, y'all, so I got that all tied up down there. Now, I gotta put the ratchet on the bottom right here. And it'll be just like how I did the top, except it'll be all the way on the ground. It's got to be touching the ground. So that you get that kind of a, instead of pulling like this, it's kind of pulling like that and stretching all the strain, all the gut strain out of the fence. That's where the fence isn't laying like this, it's laying like that. That bulge is a gut strain, kind of like that, you know. You don't want that, you want to be standing like this, like a man. But I'm gonna do that, and then it'll just be ratcheting and pulling tight and flopping up against the fence and making sure my wire is out. So once I get this to the next step, I'll come back at y'all and show y'all what else has got to be done. But for now, y'all have already seen everything that I'm about to do, so there's no point in showing you again. So I'm gonna get on this and get back with y'all. This is the first time I'm plucking the fence since I've gotten the ties on there. I've got all the ties on there, every single one of them. I got rid of all the gut strain by using a tactic that my dad's friend taught me. Well, my dad's friend taught my dad, and my dad taught me, so either way. But you start from the bottom and you go out to the top. Gut strain is where, I explained this earlier, but gut strain is where the fence is doing this number instead of being straight up and down. And to pull that out of there, if you go down, it has nowhere to go. And because I raised my ratchet up, it has somewhere to go. So whenever I start from the bottom and come up from the top. It's just like whenever you got wrinkles in your bed. You don't start from the top where your pillows are and go down to the foot of your bed where your blanket's tucked up underneath, or your sheet. Because that won't get rid of the wrinkles. You come from the top, from the bottom, up to the top. But this is the first time I've plucked the fence. I can already tell that it's really tight, just for one, by touching it, and two, whenever I was putting the ties on there, my pliers would bump it. I could hear the whole thing vibrating like a pickle fork, tuning fork. I believe this is one of the tighter ones, tighter runs. The middle, it's not that tight. I didn't expect it to be that tight. But over here, I bet you it's quite a bit tighter. Alright, so check this spot. This has got 2 metal posts instead of a cedar post and a metal post. The center is tighter, like I figured, because there's more stuff holding onto it better. But what I was seeing earlier was my pliers would bump right there, and all in there's vibrating. Camera can't hear it. I can barely hear it. If I took this off, I can hear it better. But that's it. I put this run up all by myself, 110%. Well, 90%, I guess. My dad kind of got me started. He was like, you need to do this, and then you need to do that, and then you need to do this. And he went through that like 4 times and all that stuff. And he helped me get a cable, ran from that pole to this post and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't help me with the fence at all, which I don't blame him. Well, I mean, it was a challenge. I told you that in the very beginning of it. That was cool. I landed in there, but I told you that in the very beginning. He challenged me to do this on my own. Did it. Alright, y'all. It's done. My dad approves of it. He says it's the tightest stretch of fence out of this whole thing. Out of everything here. That's pretty good, because I did it all by myself. That makes it like extra special. That's like whenever the grandma makes the cookies. They just taste better. It's just the way it is. Whenever Hey Boy makes fence, it's just better. You know who'd be proud of me? Stony Ridge Farm. Stony Ridge Farm would be like extremely proud of me, because this is a tight fence. It's a tight fence, straight fence, and it looks good. So here it is. I'm done. I'm gonna see y'all some other time whenever I'm doing something else.